Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Elizabeth and thank you for joining me for our Pilates class this morning. We don't need any specific props, but if you do have more sensitive knees, you might want to roll up a towel or use a blanket underneath your knees. So that being said, let's get started. We're going to start on our backs this morning. So go ahead and lie down. And then actually let's start with bringing our right knee in towards our chest and take a few deep breaths here. Just releasing some tension in the back. Good. Go ahead, taking hold of your thigh, we'll start to open the hamstring, the back of the leg, just start to stretch and then bend. So we're extending the leg and bending a few times. And also warming up that knee joint a little bit. And then the next time that you extend the leg, let's hold and then actually find some movement in the foot. So maybe we can make a few circles, circling in one direction and then in the other. Or we could point and flex just a few times. And then release that leg down and we'll move to the left side. So bring your left knee into your chest. Take a few breaths. Start to extend and bend the leg. Just a few times. And then next time that we extend the leg, we'll hold the leg extended and start to find some movement in the foot. And again, circles, pointing and flexing. And release that leg down. And this time we'll bend both knees and we're going to bring our legs into an upside down tabletop position. So we want our knees right over our hips here to start. We're making sure that we're not overarching our back away from the floor. So we really want to make sure that we're snuggling the small of the back a little closer into the mat. Knees stacked over the hips. Arms by your sides, and you can even bring them a little bit wider for support. Good. Pull the belly in and just breathe a few times here, practicing that deep core activation, drawing the navel to the spine. Breathing into the rib cage as the abdominals stay engaged. And now let's bring our legs, our knees together and actually start to make some circles with the legs, just circling in one direction. And then circling in the other direction. Good. And then coming back to tabletop, again, we have those knees stacked. We'll actually start to twist a little bit. So we're rocking the hips or the legs to one side, maybe rolling off that one hip, coming back to center, and then rolling to the other side, and back to center, and continuing. So we inhale as we find our little twist, our little halfway twist, and exhale back to center. And think of your shoulder blades as being your anchor here. So really press the shoulder blades down into the mat. Just a few more times. One more time to each side. Good. And then back to center. Just take a moment, draw your knees into your chest, rock from side to side a few times. Good. All right, so we'll actually release the legs. We're setting up for a bridge now. So we want our feet and our knees about hips distance apart. Toes are pointing straight ahead. You can even have a little look just to make sure that your feet are lined up. Good. Arms by your sides. Keeping that core engagement, pulling the belly in. As you exhale, we just lift the hips off the floor, squeezing the glutes at the top, and inhale, lower back down. We'll just do that a few more times. We're just activating the glutes, which basically means we're trying to wake up those muscles in the seat. Let's do 3 more. Two more. And this last one, let's hold here, keeping the hips high. And we're actually going to work the calves a little bit. So we'll lift the heels, keep your hips up, and then lower. We lift and lower. And we can even start to incorporate the breath here. So we inhale, lifting the heels, exhale to lower. Let's do 7 more here. 6, 5, 4, 3 more, 2 more, 1 more. Lower the hips, drop your knees together, and walk your feet a little bit wider, maybe even off the mat. Take a few breaths. And then just slowly slide the knees from side to side. Just trying to release any tension in the low back. And then we'll bring our legs back to tabletop. So we have those knees again stacked over the hips. We'll flex the feet. Arms are by your sides. We're going to work some double tap downs. So we're pulling the belly in. We tap the heels towards the floor. Again, we make sure that we don't start to arch up too much away from the floor. And we lift back to tabletop. We inhale to tap down and exhale back up. Now, if you're feeling any strain in your low back here, you might want to try sliding your hands under your seat to give your low back a little extra support. Either way is fine. We'll go for 5 more, 4 more, 3, 2, 1. Now place your feet back down. We're working some little foot hops here. So we're just lifting those feet, sending them a few inches further away, tapping them on the floor, and then bringing them back. So just little taps. Keep breathing for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Knees back into the chest. Rock from side to side. You could even circle the knees a few times in one direction. Just tracing little circles on your back as well. And then reverse directions. Arms by your sides again, legs in tabletop. We'll close the legs together. And then once more, we're working those little twists. Twisting to one side, exhale, back to center, twisting to the other. back to center. So this time we could add a little twist and stretch, stretching the legs away, only if it feels comfortable. Back to center, twist and stretch and back. Good. Moving to the other side. Inhale to center, exhale to twist and stretch. We'll do 4 more. 3, 2, 1, and release. Bring our feet down to the mat, setting up for our bridge once more. Pulling the belly in, we lift the hips. Good. And then once more, we're going to start our calf raises, lifting and lowering. Don't let those hips start to sag. Inhale up, exhale down. 7 more. 6. 5 more. 4 more. 3. 2 more. Last one. And release your hips. Let your knees fall together. And then once more, just walk those feet a little bit further apart. Take just a few breaths. Slowly slide the knees from side to side. Bring our legs back into our tabletop. Again, arms are either under your hips or they're by your side. Flex your feet. We inhale to tap down and exhale back to tabletop. We're going for 7 more. 6 more. 5 more. 4. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. Heels down, and then we start to hop. Keep breathing for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release knees into your chest. Again, we might circle the knees. And then switch directions. Let's open our arms apart, all right, into a T shape. We'll either keep our legs together or we can cross our right leg over our left. And we start to release the legs to the left side, turn your head to the right, just finding a twist. And then just let your belly soften here and breathe. Start to draw the legs back to center. All right, we uncross. Again, we're either keeping our legs together or this time we cross the left thigh over the right, releasing the legs to the left, to the right side, and turning the head to the left. Draw those legs back to center. Uncross the legs. Take another little hug with both knees into the chest. And we'll go ahead and we'll roll off to one side. We'll make your way onto all fours. And then we'll actually just move straight up into downward dog. So once we're in down dog, just take some time to stretch the backs of the legs. So you could always bend one knee at a time, or even slide the shoulders up and down the back. Starting to work on that shoulder mobility. A few more breaths here. We'll shift the weight forward into plank. All right, so we can either stay on our hands, or if our wrists needed a little break, we can always come onto our forearms here, holding plank. So we can actually stay here. We could lower the knees for a modified plank, or we could also start to move the legs a little bit, tapping out to the side, alternating which foot taps out. And we'll go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to center and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower all the way down. Just take a moment, stack your hands, rest your head on your hands. Just take a few deep breaths. You can even rock the hips from side to side. Okay. All right, so for the next one, we'll stay on our belly. And we want to make sure we have enough room in front of us to reach our arms forward. All right, so we're moving into slow motion swimmers to start with. We're drawing the belly in, and then we lift the opposite arm, opposite leg. You're trying to keep your ear relatively in line with that lifted arm, and then really try to stretch that lifted leg back, reaching to the wall behind you. We inhale to lower, and exhale, lift and stretch. Good. So we're trying to also keep the thumbs up. Just a few more. So we'll either actually stay with this slow motion swimming, or we could move into a faster swimming. So that would require lifting both arms, both legs, and starting to swim fast. Making sure we're breathing. We're not letting our belly go. Keep that abdominal engagement. And I'll just do a little countdown from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Bring your arms by your sides and then just press one cheek to the mat. Take a few deep breaths. And then we'll practice that plank one more time. So again, either on our hands or on our forearms. We could either be on our knees or on our toes. Maybe tapping out to the side with one foot. For 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Once more, stack your hands. Again, we could slide the hips from side to side, or we can even bend the knees and windshield wiper the feet from side to side a few times. All right, one more round for our swimmers. So reaching the arms forward, thumbs up, pull the belly in. We'll either move into our alternating opposite arm, opposite leg, or we'll lift both arms, both legs, and start to swim. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Arms by your sides, opposite cheek to the mat. Go ahead and slide your hands under your shoulders. We'll press up and sink back to a child's pose. So we'll have our knees wide here and bring the big toes together. And that's just going to allow a little bit more of a release for the low back. Bringing your forehead to the mat, or you could always stack your hands and rest your forehead on your hands. So we're going to make our way onto our side. So we're going to lie, starting out, why don't we start lying on our left side. All right, so we'll come all the way down, resting our head in our hand. And we're actually going to angle the feet forward just a little bit. So we're creating a little bit of an angle with our body. That top knee, that top leg is going to bend, and that knee will come to the floor. So we're going to work some half clams this way. So we're going to lift that knee until we feel the squeeze in the glutes there, and lower. We exhale to lift and inhale back down. We're going for 8 more. That's it. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's try to hold here, keeping that top knee pointing towards the sky. We'll stretch that bottom leg out, and then we'll start to lift that bottom leg, squeezing as we lift, working that inner thigh a little bit, and lower. Exhale up and inhale down. 8 more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Stretch that top leg out long now. This time, we keep that top foot flexed. We're going to tap down in front of us twice, arc it up and back, tap behind us. These are called hot potatoes. So we want to get a little bit of height with our leg here, but not so much that we're gaining any momentum. So it's not a really high swing. I'd say just trying to get a few feet above the floor. We're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right. So we're actually going to prop ourselves up on our hands here. We're working some side push-ups. So we have 2 options here. We could either keep both hands on the floor. so that we're just lowering. And as we lower, we make sure our elbows aren't flaring out to the sides. The points of our elbows are moving straight back as we lower all the way down and back up. This is option 1. Option 2 is a one-handed push-up. So you bring your left hand, cross it to your opposite shoulder. So we have our weight on our right hand. We're lowering all the way down. You'll turn your chest towards the screen and then lift back up. And again, that elbow is moving straight back. So we inhale down and exhale up. We're going for 8 more. 7, 6, 5, 4 more, 3 more, 2 more, last one. Good, and release. And before we switch sides, we're going to do just a little bit of ab work. So we'll lie on our back. This time we extend the legs up in the air. The legs are together. We bring our hands together in a prayer pose, activating those abdominal muscles. So pull the belly in, take a breath in, and as you exhale, open the legs, reach your hands between them, and reach towards the wall in front of you. We inhale, the head comes back down, the legs squeeze together. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, back down. Every time you come down, you really want to squeeze those legs together, working those inner thighs. Exhale, and inhale. We're going for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now this last one, let's hold and pulse these little prayer crunches. Keep breathing for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Close the legs, knees into the chest. Rock from side to side a few times. Take a few breaths. Good, and then we'll go ahead, roll ourselves up, and then we'll come on to the other side. So we start stretching out long. We'll angle those feet forward a little bit. Bend the top knee. Pull the belly in, as always. Exhale, we lift that knee, and inhale, lower. We're going for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, stretch out that bottom leg. We lift and lower. Lift and lower. Exhale up. Inhale down for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Top leg stretches out long. We're moving into those hot potatoes. Tap down, arc up, tap. Good. Going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, we press ourselves up. We're moving into those push-ups again. So either both hands are on the floor or we place our right hand on our opposite shoulder. We lower down. Remember, that elbow moves straight back, and we press back up. Good. For 9, 8, dropping that right shoulder to the floor. 7, 6, 5, 4 more, 3 more, 2, 1. And release. Good. Shake out your wrist if you need to. We'll do those abs one more time. Those abdominal exercises. So we lie on our back again. Legs extend. Hands in prayer. Take a breath in. Exhale. Curl up. Reach. Inhale. Squeeze those legs together. Exhale. Reach. Inhale down. We're going for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more. Last one. Hold and pulse. Keep breathing for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Close the legs, pull the knees into the chest. Rock from side to side a few times. All right, so we're actually going to go ahead and roll ourselves up, and we're going to take a moment for a little hip stretch. So we're going to find a little 4 position. So basically, your left shin will be towards the long edge of the mat, and your right shin will be towards the parallel to the short edge of your mat. We sit up nice and tall. We're going to actually turn our chest square over that left thigh, and with a nice long spine, start to hinge forward. All right, so we're only going to go as low as comfortable. All right, and if it's available to you, you could also come onto your forearms, or even stretching your arms out long, just allowing the belly to drape over that thigh. Take a few deep breaths here. Slowly make your way back up. Take a moment just to stretch your legs out in front of you, shake them out. And then we'll move to the other side. So we have our right shin parallel to the long edge of the mat, and then the left shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. Sit up nice and tall, rotating towards that right thigh. We start to hinge over that leg. Just lowering as much as comfortable here. Slowly rising back up. Stretch our legs in front of us, shake it out again. And we'll go ahead and come onto all fours. We'll find downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here, just stretching. top of the mat, we'll start to walk our feet forward. Set our feet about hips distance apart, and then we'll just stretch in this standing forward bend here. So any movement that helps release tension or tightness, you could bend one knee at a time, or sway or rock the hips from side to side. You could also find a little chest stretch here, interlacing the fingers behind you and lifting the arms. And then if the arms or the hands are bound, go ahead and release them again. Slide your hands to your shins, come up halfway, stretch the spine forward. And then think about reaching forward through the crown of the head. So we're gazing down at the floor. Maybe just focusing our gaze on a spot just about 2 feet in front of us, 3 feet. Reach your arms out to the sides. As you inhale, rise up. And let's take a little lean back. Shift the hips forward. Lift the chest, slide the arms back. And exhale, draw the hands to the heart. All right, so we're going to play with balance and continue to play with leg strength a little bit. So we'll start to shift the weight into the right foot. So we can either just stay with the left heel lifting and the toes on the floor. We could play with lifting the foot entirely off the floor. We want to make sure we are focusing our gaze on a spot, either on the floor or on the wall in front of us. And if you're feeling steady, balancing on one leg, we'll try to flex that left foot, lift the knee a little higher, and move into some little hip rotations where we open the leg and close the leg, keeping the breath steady. We'll try 3 more. Two. And 1. And once the leg comes back to center, we step back. We find a lunge here. And then we're going to play with kind of that weight displacement. Once we're in our lunge, we'll shift the weight back into the front foot. We'll lift that left knee in front of us again, finding our balance, and then step back again. So we exhale as we shift the weight onto that right foot, and inhale back into that lunge. Let's go for 5 more. 4 more. Ooh, take your time here. You don't have to keep with my count. 3. 2. And 1 more. Good. And the next time we find lunge, let's hold. We'll bend the back knee. Most of that weight is in our front heel here, really working those thighs and glutes. Interlace the fingers. Reach the arms up and overhead. Keep that back knee bent. We tip to one side. Take a few breaths. And back to center. And tip to the other side. And back to center. Straighten the back leg. We shift the weight into both feet, coming to the top of the mat. Shake it out. Good job. So we'll move to the other side. Hands at the heart. This time we start to shift the weight into the left foot. And again, you could either stay on your toes and just work on lifting and lowering your toes, even trying to keep your foot off the floor, even for a few seconds. And if you feel steady, we'll hold that foot lifted. See if we can lift that right knee higher. And if we're feeling steady here, we work on those hip rotations, open and close. Take your time. We'll try 3 more. Two more. And 1 more. Step back to a lunge. And we try to shift that weight back onto the left foot, lifting that right knee, and step back. Good. We'll go for 5 more. Four more. And again, you don't have to keep up to my count. Take your time. Or you might be ahead of me. 3. 2. 1. Hold. Let's bend our back knee. Weight in that front left heel. Interlace the fingers, arms up and overhead. Tip to the left. Take a few breaths. Back to center. Slowly tip to the right. Back to center. Hands to the heart. Step that back foot forward. Shake it out. Good. Go ahead. Keep those feet hips distance apart. Let's fold forward again. Gently rock the head from side to side a few times. And then bend the knees, plant the hands. We'll step back to down dog. Go ahead and lower your knees. Sit back in child's pose. Take a few deep breaths here. Then we'll actually bring our knees together in child's pose. Reaching the arms forward, we'll move into a little side stretch. So as you exhale, we'll start to walk the hands over to the right. Just allow those hips to shift a little bit more to the left. And take a few deep breaths, especially focusing your breath all the way down the left side body. Walk your hands back to center. As you exhale, walk them to the left side. Shift the hips to the right. And take a few deep breaths into the right side. Walk your hands back to center. Go ahead and come up onto all fours. Let's actually bring that right foot forward into a lunge. And then you can always fold over your mat if your knee needs a little extra padding, or grab a blanket or a towel. But we'll have both hands to the inside of the right foot here. And we're just relaxing the hips forward and down. Good. You can even use the breath here to deepen the stretch. So every time you exhale, just allow those hips to relax down a little bit more. We'll start to shimmy that right foot forward a little bit more. So maybe at this point, the ankle is in front of the knee, and we'll start to walk our hands back, shifting our hips back, allowing that front leg to extend into a hamstring stretch. Try to peel the toes back towards you, flexing that foot. And then actually try to stretch the top of the foot. So point the toes, trying to bring those toes as close to the floor as possible. And go ahead and bend that knee, just send that leg back, shake it out a few times. And then we'll switch sides. So this time we're stepping that left foot forward, hands to the inside of the foot, beginning to release the hips forward and down. Again, use the breath. So every exhalation, allowing the hips to relax a little bit more. Walk that left foot forward a little bit. Start to walk the hands back. Shift the hips back. Good. Finding that hamstring stretch, pulling the toes back. Actually point the toes. And again, just trying to get those toes as close to the floor as possible. Bend that left knee, send that leg back. Maybe shake it out a few times. Go ahead and find a seated position. Just a comfortable cross-legged position. We'll move into a little twist. So we'll sit up nice and tall. We have our right hand on our opposite leg. That other hand is just behind you on the floor. Long spine. And as you exhale, twist to the left. Turning your head towards that back shoulder. As you inhale, we come back to center, setting up for the other side. Long spine. And exhale, twist to the right. Back to center. Final stretch. We'll bring the soles of the feet together, setting up for a cobbler. So we'll have our hands behind us. And at first, just open the chest with your hands on the floor. And we can start to push, just using our own hip muscles. Start to press your legs or your knees a little bit more downward. So we have two options here. We could stay here. There's also the option to fold forward. So we could either keep our hands behind us, starting to hinge forward at the hips. We want to hold on to this nice long spine here, this nice open chest. Or we could also wrap our hands around our toes. And again, lifting the chest, keeping the spine nice and long. Slowly rise back up, close the knees, sit up nice and tall. And then give yourselves a hand because we're done. And good job. And thank you for joining me and have a great rest of your day.